Welcome back, everyone. This is Renee Piani, and this is Get Real About Love. I am the love designer, and I am here with my fabulous co-host, Clayton Norcross. How you doing there, Clay?
All right.
Good. I know that this has been a really crazy, trying time for a lot of people in the world, and you have been so open and raw about your circumstances and your healing process and
Well,
the
you've been
goal.
so helpful to so many people. I know you're slammed all the time with people who are looking for solutions, and it's my pleasure to assist in that.
Thank you. Well, it's been quite an adventure. This is our, I think, ninth video, I think something like that. And we have been doing Get Real About Love tips. And the goal is to give people inspiration, insights into some of the challenges. And yours has been going through a breakup, right? So today we are talking about a really important aspect of love is letting go of love. Letting go with love. Like the whole theme is, how do you let go of something that you thought was going to work with love so that you can move on and have an open heart? So that's sort of what we've been dealing with. And I know that you're right in the middle of it, and that yesterday you had some very interesting conversations. So maybe you could talk a little bit about it.
Well, in my process, which began about 6 months ago, I realized that I was having a challenging time moving on. In spite of all the work that I had done, I felt that, well, you and I kind of reached a conclusion that what I needed was a sense of closure so that I could, release myself from such a close emotional linkage. I felt about 80% moved on, but about 20% of me, I think maybe my little guy inside was like, I don't know, not there yet. So I had lots of people tell me, cut it off, move on to the next. I've had buddies say, hey, go get another skirt. There's a million of them. And, sometimes we can just have too many voices in our head, and it doesn't pay to share your pearls with too many people, but to trust those people like yourself that really have experience with a broad range of circumstances. Anyway, Renee and I came to the conclusion that it would be really useful, since I'm an actor and I'm a very auditory person, to push through that sort of macho way of thinking, shall we say, and conventional way of thinking, to just distract yourself with other things, but to move in and ask for a sense of closure. So Renee gave me a very powerful bullet point script that really, expressed my desire to find out, do you see a future for us? In spite of the pain that my ex-partner is in, do you see me in your future somewhere down the line? Is there any light at the end of the tunnel? And that was something that
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I wanted to speak to this because when people are in the midst of a breakup, right, they doubt themselves. They have all sorts of ruminating thoughts, like that keep them up late at night, the what ifs, and what if we tried this? What if we tried that? And sometimes they may text each other during the breakup process, and they might not get responses that they had hoped for. So then they start to get doubtful about themselves and fearful. And so I'm kind of a very, as you know, I mean, maybe you notice, I'm very blunt about things. And I said to him, I think that you, because you're an expressive person and an auditory person, and you haven't heard from her, seen her, or had a lot of communication, that maybe it would be a good idea if you just had a closure conversation to see if she was open. And I think that what came out of it was a sense of, I mean, I don't want to speak what you were feeling, but you told me there was a sort of a sense of freedom. So maybe you could talk about that a little bit.
Well, yeah, I think the net result of it was, let me just look at my circumstances. Let me make the choice, listening for divine guidance, if you will, and intuitive understanding. Is this ripping off the bandage of something that's trying to heal? Or is this the balm that I'm putting on the wound that is going to allow it to heal? And that's the conclusion that I came to, was to stop trying to cling to artificial remedies and just say, hey, listen, dear, there's a part of me that is having a hard time letting go while we're still communicating. Do you see me in your future? And when I got an unequivocal answer, like, gosh, how can I know that? I'm so, buried with my own pain. And I said, well, thank you. That's the answer that I needed, because that tells me that I need to let go. And it gave me a sense of closure, which carried with it a sense of relief in a way, because I realized it has nothing to do with me. I have no control over it. I need to let go and let God do his healing work with her, and stop trying to put a round peg in a square hole. And
or to hold on to something that isn't available now and waste time in your life when you could be not only expanding your friendships and things like that, or waiting for someone to change. If they're meant, as a person goes through a healing process, sometimes it's just the right love at the wrong time, and people always say, but are they going to come back? But in the meantime, you have to live your life. And that's what we've been working on. And, you didn't jump into old patterns of running around with other women right away or jumping in. You looked at patterns, you changed patterns. And that's what's most important, for you to get real about a loop that you might be in, like rushing into love. And you had said that, you had just recently broken up when you met her. She had broken up with her spouse, and you had broken up with somebody.
Rebound. So in retrospect, using your technology, had I stepped back and said, whoa, I'm rebounding, she's just out of something, I need to go real slow here, if at all, and make sure that I'm not walking into a tunnel with a freight train in it and get run over. And so knowing that I, as an actor, as an artist, as a man who has a pretty balanced masculine and feminine, I realize that I'm vulnerable to those same oxytocin chemicals that anybody is, that especially women understand that, I think. And the whole idea that men don't feel, I think they don't express their feelings as easily as women do, but we feel just as much as women do. And we need to be careful of getting all hooked up in things that have nowhere to go, ultimately. And this is kind of what I discovered.
That's why when someone says right now is not a really good time, but we could have some fun, then don't think that your love is going to bring that change that needs to happen inside of them, right? The healing process needs to happen. But when you let go with love, right, you tell the other person, God, I learned so much from you. Some of the things that you expressed that she said about you made you feel like, wow, you really were loved. The feelings that you were feeling were real.
Yeah.
Her feelings were real, but her soul just was in a healing process, and that the timing wasn't right, and she's in a healing process, especially during this coronavirus. So many people are home alone, having so much time to think and to understand and to contemplate. And so that's why the book, when I've told so many people, maybe if you have the time to do the inner work in the book, it'll help you see yourself. It's all about looking at yourself. You can always put the blame on someone else, but then your heart puts up the wall, right? And that is what I've been trying to help you to see, that wall that you could put up very easily is usually caused because the other person's in pain. And if you could only look, and I always say, look down on their life like a movie. If you could be in her position with her circumstances, or vice versa, if a woman could be, or anyone that you're with, if you could try and really look at it from the way their heart is dealing with something that happened before you, and not make it about you being not good enough, then it doesn't hurt as much. It is very painful when you bond with someone and then they rip the Band-Aid off so fast and you're like, wait, what just happened? So having deep conversations, and I don't know, some people would disagree with me, but there was men in my life that hurt me, and I went and I said, I need to see you face to face So now people have Zoom and FaceTime. Those times we didn't have this technology back then. So you had to meet face to face, because
Right.
I just wanted to look at them and say, didn't we have a bond? And they would say, you know what, Renee, I did. Or, or maybe I wasn't ready. And there was men that I didn't want to face them because I was embarrassed, but really it had all to do with me. They met me when I had just broken up with someone, and they were trying to give me all this love. And I kept saying, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And then finally I just said, I can't do this anymore. Right. And the guys that I ran into years later, when I looked at all the people that I ran away from, or people that ran away from me, it usually didn't have anything to do with them, or, not wanting me. It had to do with me being unhealed or them being unhealed. Right? So you think about that. There's a lot of unhealed people because people are not honest with each other right up front, or you as a person haven't been listening. You have not been listening. So you were listening, but you didn't believe that it
Well,
was true.
I think this was a key factor is when the conversation began. I used some things that I had in my wonderful sharing with you and your lovely husband Joe, that I had been inadvertently, perhaps in my ego quite a bit, had been inadvertently a bit selfish, seeing the possibilities, all the raw materials that were there to create this higher love that I had not experienced in my marriage, thinking, wow, look what got airdropped into my life by the divine. And I got really excited about that. The trouble is I didn't read the red flags that the other part wasn't as available to that as I would fantasize. So here again, without getting too technical and analytical, just begin to ask the questions in faith, and to know that the answers aren't bad. They're just information to protect you from walking into something and I had created a bit of a fantasy about what was possible. And then I suffered for holding on to that. So I have to say that a great deal of my pain was of my own making. And I cannot blame her in any way, nor would I wish to. I believe that we create, promote, or allow everything that comes into our consciousness. So my work now is to step back, and I'll finish with just watch what thoughts are living rent-free in my head and go, is that true? Yesterday, I got confirmation that there's a lot of love between us, but there's also a lot of healing that needs to take place. And the relationship that I want with her is not available right now. And I either accept that or I pound my head against the wall. So that's my work.
That's very, very, very powerful. And I would like everyone out there that if you have an experience like this, we'd love to hear your sharing, because sometimes if it's either a letter, it could be a voicemail, it could be, a conversation, to let go with love, because sometimes if you walk away because you're hurt, the other person takes it so personally because they may not have listened, or maybe they have old pain from their hearts that hadn't been healed and it got triggered, right? So these love loops that happen to people often keep causing one wall and then another wall and then another wall, and it stops people from blasting open their heart to take care of it. It's something that's super important. That's why I am honored that you have been promoting my work and my book and all these things. I have classes coming up all the time, flirting classes and healing classes and support, because people take it out on themselves and you just beat your brain. You lay in bed ruminating, and I know I did it. And if you read the book, it's my story of the vulnerability of me putting out my pain in a book to show you how to change these patterns. It's kind of like taking responsibility for yourself and looking at you, getting real with you.
Well, it frees you up to love the other person, to not give up the love, not cut off the love. And that was a very powerful thing that you and I did. We didn't cut the cable that has life and blood and love and, living energy in it. We took that cable and we rerouted it back into my heart. So I give that love that many people said, cut it off, throw it away, it's a dead root, and I rerouted that energy back into my own heart. That's a revolutionary concept, I submit to you, and a much healthier one than just cut people off.
It's so painful when you don't know the answers. But what happens is that some people will call me, they'll be like, I'm going to call him or I'm going to call her and let her know how I feel. And I'm like, you have to calm your spirit down. Look at both sides of it. Get somebody to help you logically look at it before you go and destroy what could be a conversation that could heal you from the 5 other men or women
Yeah.
before that person, right?
Let me
Because what
speak to that.
happens, I'm
Go
sorry,
ahead.
what happens is once that pain hits again, and if it's happened before, it activates all the times that it's happened. You have an overreaction, and then you take it even harder on yourself. And it's, I remember when I got hurt before, I would get activated by a song or a conversation that somebody I was having, that I was casually dating, and they would say there was something going on in your heart that you really weren't open. And that's what I see is happening with people. They just keep rushing onto these quick fixes without doing the inner work to get real so that they can find extraordinary love.
Therefore, you're not getting the learning value of why spirit, why the universe has brought, why you've attracted that experience. And I have to emphasize, when you finally take responsibility for what you've created or allowed in your life to persist, you've tried to make a cake out of crumbs that someone is perhaps just able to give you. It's not malicious. It's just, this is where they are. And you can hate them for it.
If you accepted it without asking the right questions, because you rushed, because you were in need of that need for speed, right? And in some of our videos, we talked about don't rush into love. If love is really there, the foundation of love, and somebody's saying, I'm not really sure I'm really ready for this, and then you guys jump in bed and you get him activated and hearts start happening, the pain is still there. It just, it surfaces once the other person gets bonded and then starts making, hey, where are we going with this? And the person's like, oh no, wait, I can't do this. And of course it makes,
that's familiar.
And then it makes you feel so rejected. And the real truth is, it's their loss. You should be able to feel so good about yourself that you say, you know what, I'm taking my time next time. And that's when my life changed. So I wrote a whole book about my pattern of jumping back in to get that feeling and getting hurt again and again until I changed by getting real with my little girl inside of me that wanted that love so much. And that's what you've been talking about. And it's so special that you're so raw. And I just think that if you can let go with love and be loving to yourself, as someone walks out of your life, that door closes. If you do the healing work and understand what happened and not take it so personally, then the doorway to your heart will open because you've let go with love for yourself and trying to have a perspective of the other person and understand their heart so that you can walk away with the gift of what you did get out of it. If somebody manipulated, lied, or cheated or all that, that's a different story. This was an honest conversation that both people were in the need of love and they didn't really hear the truth, right? They weren't listening to or looking at the signs along the way. And now you know that next time you're not going to do that before you examine, where a person's heart is.
At the very least, when I'm receiving so many mixed signals, to realize, whoa, let me slow down the train here. Let me step back to an emotionally safer distance, maybe take a couple weeks, vacation from it. Let me listen to my heart about what's really happening here. I'm feeling kind of icky about she did this, she did that, she didn't do this. And not make her wrong about it, not to make him wrong about it, but what does this mean for my objective to take care of myself in this context? And that's not selfish, that's just smart. And it doesn't have to be at the expense of the other person. So that was, we're just about out of time, I suppose, but I wanted to just say that the net result of it was very loving, and it felt not easy, but very freeing to say, I love you, and I don't know when I'll speak to you again, but I got to back away because I got to get my heart back, and I can't do it as long as I'm.
It affects your work, it affects your friendships, it affects your openness. And now that you know that she cared and you know that your love made a difference in her life, that she just wasn't ready for it, then that's your sign from the universe, from God, whatever you believe, that it's time for you to be free. And that freedom allows you to give yourself that nurturing that, wow, this really was true, and it really didn't have much to do with me not being good enough. Because people take it out on themselves, and I know I did. I mean, I wrote about it. So I'm really proud of you, and I know that, you know, your work will be blessed. The depth that you will bring to the table in your craft as an actor, you'll be able to tune into this feeling. And I know that, you know, through all the years that I've done this type of work, I can honestly say that you made such a deep commitment to your heart, and you've been totally honest with your audience, with our audience. And I think that the women and the men of the world that are listening, if they are, we'd love to hear from you, because these are the type of things that can change your whole life. Because you don't want to ruminate and hold heart pain from one person in your world that can ruin like the next, 4 years of your life. I have people that call me that are still hung up on somebody from college that they haven't let go of. I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. There was a woman I talked to yesterday, and she gave me the list of all the men that she had had a relationship with, and she never let anyone in because of the first time. Her value was, her self-worth was compromised from the pain of the first breakup in her high school days. And she's in her 50s, 7 years old, and never been married and never let anybody really close. She would just have affairs, but never let anyone close. And now she's looking at herself, and she realizes that she's done this to herself, but she's never had a guide to take her through the process of healing that part of herself. So it's very important.
Yeah, I think it's priceless to have such a knowledgeable consigliere, diciamo in Italiano, someone that you trust, who has experience as you do. Your book obviously is very rich and full of tools and affirmations and things. And probably the biggest thing that I've gained from our work together is to realize that the love that I had longed for, hoped to receive, that sustaining, validating affection and love, I am learning how to give that to myself rather than put the pressure on my loved one to fulfill that part of me. And that makes me much more safe, self-sourced, and less vulnerable in the love arena, so I can relax and enjoy it. What a concept.
Also know that this learning makes you be a deeper connected partner, and you know that you can love deeply. Like when we talked yesterday, I said you deserve to have somebody that's ready to love you deeply and to have sacred relationship by being honest. And now that I've been married, many of people always say, well, is this girl married? And I know my husband. I was so glad that he came to see me yesterday, and my husband was here, and he's been through 2 marriages before. Yeah. And it was heartbreaking. And he was very, very open about what he's like, you deserve the best. You deserve somebody available. And I've been telling him this, and I think sometimes hearing it from a guy, I think really stepping into, I deserve this, and I'm a good person. And now I know from being so close to you and so intimate with him and many of my clients, that as you see the value of what you brought to that woman's life, and she even validated it yesterday. Yeah. And I think, yes, she validated that your love was so powerful and so beautiful. She just wasn't in the right space to receive it. And that is a super powerful lesson.
Well, that was huge, that you can't get through 1,000 texts, but to look someone in the eye, see their sincerity. There's just no substitute for that. And to realize that you have, even though the relationship didn't go where I would like it to go or expected it to go, I was of incredible contribution to someone's life who had been really disappointed and really trashed and disappointed. Yeah. And there's value in that. So that's my takeaway from yesterday, is to know that it was not wasted time. My love was not wasted. And in spite of the disappointment that I feel that it didn't come to where I wanted it to go, that there was value in it. And that's important to let go.
With all the unresolved relationships that I discuss with people and all the disappointments, sometimes, as our Reverend Michael Beckwith says, The disappointment, right, is that that person at that time was not appointed for you. Like, to really trust in the plan of the universe or God, that disappointment was happening because that person wasn't aligned with where your soul is at this time. And it's really God's rejection. You know, that rejection is God's protection. So you don't spend 3 or 4 years trying to heal someone that isn't ready. You can say, I've offered my heart. I loved you dearly, and I see you're in a healing process, and I'm going to pray for you. And who knows what could happen in the future. But in the meantime, I'm going to go live my life because I'm ready for sacred love. And that
Gotcha.
is what you proclaimed yesterday.
Got you. You know, and you helped me to not have a script, not a word for word. I don't mean that, folks. I just mean Renee gave me a bullet point list of, I see these, and we collaborated on this together. These are the key points that I want to make, not only so that I can love and let go, but I can get free knowing that I made a contribution. I wasn't used or abused. I'm not a victim here. I chose to be where I went, and let me own that so that there's nobody's wrong here. And there gets to be loving forgiveness for any perception, shall we say, of wrongdoing. And all of that was just washed away yesterday. And it didn't really particularly change the situation, except that I got to hold it in a really beautiful place, as did she. And that's priceless.
Everyone out there, I hope that this inspires you. If you need help with that, I mean, it's really taking a look at speaking your truth from your heart to somebody that you've spent a year or 5 years or 10 years or however long it was. And rushing into love is not a good idea when somebody's letting you know that right now I'm in the middle of a situation. Like, when people call me, I go, tell me your situation, right? And I'll say, well, this means you need to heal. You don't want to rush. Let's take our time so that you can really learn to navigate those secrets to opening your heart so that you can magnetize love instead of rushing into love to numb pain, And I think that this letting go with love is very important for many people, because most people would just say, cut them off, be done with it. And you can't do that when there's attachments of energy still between you. You want to heal and heal with a loving heart, so that your heart can stay open to the unlimited possibilities that there are. And I'm really glad that we had this conversation tonight, Clayton.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Thank
And
you.
I think you're going to be traveling sometime soon to do some more work in European countries. I know you're going to be gone. So pretty soon we're probably going to be doing less of these, but we're going to, I think, do 1 or 2 more. And we're hoping that, I'm hoping to hear from you. My site is reneepiani.com. I do offer free 20-minute consultations, and my book is available, and I would love to hear from you, and any comments on Clayton's channels or my channels, so that if you need some healing help, I'm here to help. And I thank you for endorsing me, I guess you could say, Clay, because you've been really raw and real, and I think that people can feel your heart and soul from anywhere that they're watching.
And I think the link to Kindle versions of your book, hard copies available through Amazon, I think it's a great place to start, and perhaps a free consultation with you just to kind of get going in the right direction is an invaluable resource, everybody. So I would encourage you to take advantage of it.
Well, we leave all of our social media to attach to you. We want to hear your feedback. And if you are in a healing crisis or whatever, I am here and available to help. I do sessions, and you can check it all out on my website. My life has been dedicated to healing people's hearts. And I have to say, the only reason I can say that is because I finally did manifest. I had to take a look at my family lineage. If you look behind me, and if any of you have stories, I would love to hear from you, because I am writing a book called The Power of Your Love Lineage, because we learn from our role models. And some of my role models in my generations of Italians, all you Italian people out there, I am 100% Italian. I just want you to know I don't speak it. And we are right in the process of translating the book into Italian. And I am going to get chapter 1 of the book ready to give you for free here very soon. So I'm going to create a list that we're going to put up for this video, that if you email me, you can let me know. Email me your name, your email, what you're interested in. And if you're interested in a Zoom session, we could set it up no matter where you live around the world. Or if you want the free chapter. And as soon as I get it done, I promise that I will send it to you so that you can start your path for free and see if you like it. And then if you like it, you can buy the book. And I'm hoping to get it up on Amazon in the next month or two, and to find people to translate it, and then maybe even come to Italy with Clayton when he's over there sometime to meet some of you live. That is my goal and my vision. So Clayton, I love you. I'm very proud of you. And I know that this beautiful woman, we're not going to say her name, that she was very lucky and to be in your presence. And I know that she blessed your life with love as well. So if she's watching, I just want to say to her that, you know, you must have been a very special woman, and you are a special woman in his heart. And I feel that I only hope that you'll take the opportunity to do the healing of your heart so that you can find that depth of love that you deserve. And anyone else out there listening, I wish that same wish for you. And after having a sacred marriage now for almost 15 years, I really am here just to inspire you to go for really big, grand, sacred love and deep connection and sacred love, because that's my goal, because the world needs love right now. And I just wish you only the best. And we will be back probably for one more Get Real About Love tips. And then throughout the summer, if I can catch Mr. Clayton in between his movies and TV things, we will be sending you more love tips as his life and my life transpire. And we wish you only love and success. So Clayton, I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of all of you for being part of our Get Real About Love tip adventure. So we'll be in touch real soon, and God bless you all.
Go on, everybody.
All right. Stay in touch, and I'm going to show the book one more time. Get Real About Love this is what it looks like. And yes, that is me. And from my heart to yours, I am here to help anyone out there to find extraordinary love. So God bless, and we will have one more show, and then we'll be seeing you throughout the summer. Talk to you soon.
Ciao.
God bless.